Here's the thing nobody tells you. When a guy really likes you, he doesn't just buy flowers or write cheesy texts. He starts doing the weirdest things that make absolutely no sense at first. And the moment you notice these 6 little quirks, you'll never have to sit there wondering, does he actually like me? You'll know. Because let's be honest, attraction isn't always smooth or sexy. It's messy, awkward, and sometimes hilarious. But inside those weird moments are the clearest signs that he's into you. And today I'm going to show you 6 of the strangest ones that reveal everything. Number 4 is so odd, you'll laugh out loud when you realize how many guys actually do it. When it comes to rigid efficiency, Glenn Fisher would never put his own hands from a kiss. Before I dive into the list, if you've ever found yourself second guessing whether someone really likes you, hit that subscribe button right now, because once you learn to decode these behaviors, you'll never waste energy on mixed signals again. Alright, let's be honest, guys aren't always the best at showing their feelings in clear words. But if you really watch closely, the clues are always there, and sometimes they're surprisingly strange. Today I'm going to share 6 unusual but very clear things a guy will do when he's deeply interested in you. So if you've been asking yourself, is he just being nice or is there something more? Stay with me, because once you know these signals, you won't feel unsure again. When a man is drawn to you, the first thing you might notice, if you pay attention, is how awkward he suddenly becomes in your presence. And I don't mean the obvious clumsy stuff like tripping over his shoes or spilling a drink, though that can happen too. This is a different type of awkward, soft, cute, and almost impossible for him to hide. Even men who are normally confident, charming, or calm can suddenly lose their balance when strong emotions hit. It's like the moment you appear, their brain just glitches. Think about it. When someone really likes another person, emotions get stronger. They start noticing every little detail about themselves, how they look, how they sound, and how the other person is seeing them. For a guy who has feelings for you, this often turns into overthinking every tiny interaction. Did he say the right thing? Was his joke funny enough? Did you notice him fixing his hair before coming over? All that extra thinking often turns into, you guessed it, awkwardness. Lots of it. You may see him fidgeting with his fingers or playing with whatever is close by, his phone, a glass, or his shirt sleeves. He might laugh louder than usual at your jokes, even if they weren't that hilarious. Not because he's fake, but because he really thinks you're funny and doesn't want to miss the chance to connect. His body language may look odd too, arms folding and unfolding quickly, shoulders tightening when you walk near. Or him changing his stance as if to look taller or stronger. And then there's eye contact, or the total lack of it. Eye contact matters a lot in attraction, and a man who likes you might either hold your gaze a little longer than normal or avoid it altogether. If he's shy, he may quickly look away the second your eyes meet, pretending he was just scanning the room. If he's more bold, he might stare straight at you, but then give a nervous little smile he can't hide. Either way, his eyes eventually reveal what's going on. You'll also notice changes in the way he talks. His voice may shift slightly. He may start speaking faster, trip over his own words, or wander off topic just to keep chatting. Sometimes men try to act relaxed or even distant, but instead they blurt out odd comments or sneak in clumsy compliments. Like he might say, "That's a strange color for a dress, but honestly it looks really good on you." Like, really good. Anyway, and then he probably wishes he could disappear right after. This kind of clumsy energy often shows up in his gestures too. Maybe he goes for a high five, but switches it into a handshake halfway, leaving you both confused. Or he brushes past you by mistake, and then says sorry 3 times, even though it wasn't a big deal. Sometimes he'll keep touching his hair or check his reflection in his phone when you're close, not because he's full of himself, but because he just wants to look good around you. Here's the funny part, his friends usually notice this before anyone else. They might tease him about it right in front of you, making hints, nudging him, or laughing at inside jokes. That kind of reaction from his circle is often a huge sign, Men don't usually act awkward around people they aren't interested in, so if he's cool with others but strangely uneasy when you're near, chances are his emotions run much deeper than he admits. Sometimes his awkwardness shows up in timing, like maybe he's always accidentally crossing paths with you in places you wouldn't expect, or maybe he sends you a message out of nowhere saying something random like, "Hey, do you like nachos?" Not because he truly cares that much about nachos, but because he wanted a reason to start talking and panicked at the last moment. The key thing to know is that this strange behavior doesn't come from games or manipulation. It comes from raw feelings. When a man likes someone and hasn't figured out how to show it properly, his body and mind often get all mixed up. It's like butterflies are flipping around inside, and no matter how hard he tries, he can't completely stay calm. It's sweet, almost like a romantic comedy happening in real life, just without the dramatic soundtrack. Of course, not every guy reacts the same way. Some will try to cover their emotions with teasing, sarcasm, or pretending not to care. But even then, if you pay close attention, the awkward moments still show up. Maybe he hangs around a little longer than necessary, maybe he avoids eye contact when things get serious, or maybe he suddenly goes quiet in a group when you walk in, because he's nervous about saying something silly in front of you. What makes this stage special is how real it is. It's not polished, it's not planned, it's vulnerable. When someone allows themselves to act awkward around you, it usually means they care enough to drop the perfect image. They may not say the right thing every time or look super smooth, but their emotions slip through anyway. Every nervous laugh, every stumbled word, every weird little compliment shows their interest. So next time you see a man acting a little off, more nervous, more clumsy, more uncertain, don't instantly think he's not into you. It could be the complete opposite. He might be caught in emotions he hasn't worked out how to say yet. And in a world where most people hide their feelings, that kind of awkward honesty is actually something quite rare. When a guy truly likes you, another big clue is how much attention he gives to the small things. Those little details most people don't notice or quickly forget. At first, it might not seem like much, but if you look deeper, it's one of the clearest signs of real interest. It's not always about big romantic gestures or dramatic statements of love. Sometimes it's as simple as him remembering your favorite ice cream flavor, pistachio, even though you only mentioned it once weeks ago during a casual chat. This kind of detail-focused care doesn't come from someone who's just being polite or casually friendly. It's the kind of memory that comes from paying attention because you matter to him. It comes from someone who is truly invested in you, who values what you say and who wants to show, often in small and quiet ways, that you are important. When a man is drawn to you, your words don't just pass through his ears and disappear, they stay with him. They replay in his thoughts. Without even trying, he starts collecting little pieces of who you are, your preferences, your routines, the things you enjoy and the things you dislike. For example, maybe you once mentioned that rainy days make you feel down. Don't be shocked if the next time it rains he sends you a funny meme, a thoughtful message, or even changes plans so you don't have to walk in the rain at all. That's not by accident, that's intention. He's not just listening to your words, he's paying attention to your feelings. He wants to be someone who brings comfort, someone who notices what you need without you having to spell it out. You may also notice he remembers how you take your coffee, the song you were humming last week, or that story you shared about your childhood dog. And it's not just the facts he recalls, it's the emotion behind them. He remembers how your face lit up or how your voice sounded when you told the story. Later, he may bring it up, not to show off his memory, but to reconnect with you emotionally, to send an unspoken message. I heard you. I see you. I care. What's interesting about this is how natural it often is. He may not even be aware he's doing it. It's not always calculated or planned out. But because his feelings for you are real, his mind naturally starts noticing and highlighting anything connected to you. You become the person his focus keeps circling back to. He may catch himself smiling at a song that reminds him of you, or spotting your favorite color in random places, and immediately thinking of you. Let's say you once casually mentioned you were nervous about an upcoming presentation. A guy who likes you won't forget that. On the day of, he might send a quick message saying, "Good luck, you've got this." Small gesture, big meaning. It shows he not only remembered the event, but he cared enough to support you emotionally. That type of emotional memory doesn't come from someone who's only lightly interested. This attentiveness often shows up in social settings too. Imagine you're with a group and you mention that you don't enjoy spicy food. He'll file that away. The next time you're all deciding where to eat, he might guide the choice towards something milder, or at least make sure there's a non-spicy option for you. It's not about being controlling or over-the-top accommodating. It's about being tuned in, adjusting little things so you feel comfortable. Another big part of this is how he responds to your moods. If he's truly into you, he'll pick up even on small changes in your energy. Maybe you walk in with a slightly heavier tone in your voice. He'll be the first to ask, "Are you okay?" If you're quieter than usual, he might give you space, but still check in later with something kind. This shows he's not just hearing your words, but also connecting with your emotion. Your inner world matters to him. And this doesn't just apply to the good stuff. He'll notice your fears, insecurities, and boundaries too. If you told him once that you dislike being teased about something, he'll avoid making jokes about it, even if others do. If you mentioned you feel anxious in big crowds, he might suggest a calmer place next time you meet. Those small but respectful choices reveal the depth of his care. Sometimes these memories even turn into ways to reconnect. Let's say you once told him about your dream of traveling to Japan. Weeks later, he sends you a video about Japanese culture or a clip of street food in Tokyo. That's not just random. It's his way of saying, "I'm thinking about you. I remember what excites you. I believe in your dreams." Even if he never says those words, his actions quietly speak for him. And it works both ways. If he remembers your joys, he also remembers your struggles. Maybe you opened up about a bad day. A guy who cares won't just comfort you in the moment. He'll check in days later to see how you're doing. That shows real investment, not just in sharing the fun parts, but in standing with you through the hard ones too. All of these little things build something powerful, emotional closeness. When someone recalls your small details, it's because they're building a bond that goes deeper than surface level attraction. They're not just trying to win points, they're trying to know you. And knowing someone deeply requires empathy, consistency, and presence. That's the difference between someone who's truly into you and someone who's only casually interested. Of course, some people may try to fake this kind of attention to impress you, but it usually doesn't last. Genuine care is steady. It shows up again and again, not just when it's convenient. If a man is serious about you, his attention will appear naturally and often, not just when he wants something. Over time, his actions will speak much louder than sweet words or compliments. So if you're ever unsure whether a guy likes you, watch how much he notices. Does he remember things you only said once? Does he bring them up at the right times to comfort or connect with you? Does he take your small likes, dislikes, and feelings into account without being asked? If yes, chances are he's not just being kind. He's genuinely interested in you. And in a world full of distractions and half-hearted conversations, someone who holds on to your small details is someone worth noticing in return. When a guy likes you, he also often tries to impress you, but not always in the usual obvious ways. Instead of doing the typical romantic moves like bringing flowers or throwing polished compliments, he might do quirky, unusual things that seem a little random. But those efforts are his personal way of saying, "I like you, and I want to stand out in your eyes." You may notice him being extra protective even when there's no real reason. You might find yourself confused about why he suddenly cares about things he never spoke of before, or why his behavior seems unusual compared to his normal self. The truth is, deep down, he's trying to impress you, and when feelings get involved, logic often takes the back seat. For example, He may start getting into your hobbies, not just lightly, but with strong interest. If you say you enjoy a certain TV show, suddenly he's watching every episode and quoting the lines. If you mention hiking, he could begin suggesting trail trips or asking you about the best places to go, even if he's never been into such things before. This isn't manipulation, it's admiration. He's trying to find common ground, to connect with you, and maybe even show you both have more in common than you first thought. He wants you to see him as someone who understands you, or at least someone willing to make the effort to. You may also notice he becomes more curious about your personal life, not just asking, "How was your day?" but questions like, "What made you choose that major?" or "Why do you love that band so much?" These deeper questions may sound a little awkward at times, but they come from a sincere place. He's trying to learn more about who you are, hoping his curiosity shows you he's invested. He also hopes you'll notice the effort and feel impressed that he cares enough to ask and actually listen. Other thing he might do is show off his talents or strengths when you're around. Sometimes it looks impressive, sometimes a bit silly. He might grab a guitar if he knows how to play, just casually when you're there, or he might offer to fix something, share a random skill, or drop in a fact to seem smart. These are ways he's putting forward parts of himself he believes could capture your attention. And honestly, this can get a little funny. Some guys try too hard. You may catch him adding random facts into conversations, laughing a little louder than usual, or dropping hints about achievements in a way that's clearly directed at you. He might even start paying more attention to his looks, wearing sharper clothes, trying a new haircut, or using cologne he never wore before. He may not openly admit he's doing it for you, but when you say, "You look good today," you'll see him light up inside. It's his quiet way of showing that your opinion matters to him more than anyone else's. Of course, these attempts don't always land perfectly. Sometimes he tries a joke that falls flat, or talks about something he clearly doesn't fully understand. But the important part isn't how smooth he is, it's that he's trying. A guy putting effort into impressing you, even in awkward ways, is showing his vulnerable side. He knows he might embarrass himself or look silly, yet he does it anyway, because you matter to him. In group situations, this behavior can become clearer. He may talk louder, crack more jokes, or try to take the lead when you're nearby. If he's telling a story, he'll want to make sure you're listening. He might laugh more at your jokes than anyone else, or respond to your comments with extra enthusiasm. It's like your presence makes him want to shine a little brighter, not out of arrogance, but because your attention carries more weight than the rest. Another way guys try to show they care is by being extra helpful. He might offer rides, help with tasks, or step in to assist, even when you didn't ask. He hopes you'll see him as strong, dependable, and useful. In his head, being reliable earns him a meaningful place in your life. So even if it seems random that he suddenly wants to help you move things around or carry your groceries, it's his quiet way of saying, "I want to be here for you." Sometimes this also brings out a little competition. If other guys are around, he may try harder to stand out. Maybe he cracks louder jokes, answers quicker, or tries to show off in small ways. It's usually not about jealousy, it's more about making sure he's the one you notice the most. It's a natural kind of competition for your attention, even if it leads to some funny or slightly awkward moments. Then there's the online side of things. He might suddenly start reacting to your posts, leaving playful comments, or sharing things that match your interests. Maybe he posts a song you once mentioned, or a meme connected to an inside joke between you. These little moves are not random. They're his subtle way of saying, "I'm thinking about you," using the tools he has. One of the sweetest and most surprising things he might do to impress you is open up emotionally. For many guys, this doesn't come naturally, but if he likes you, he may start sharing his personal stories, dreams, or even struggles. It's his way of showing that he's not just fun to be around, but also someone you can rely on. Because opening up can feel risky, this honesty is a big sign that he's hoping for a real bond. It's important to remember that while some of these attempts may look awkward, dramatic, or even cringeworthy, they often come from a genuine place. He's not faking, he's simply trying to be noticed. And sometimes, In the process of trying too hard, guys do the strangest things. But that's what makes it authentic. It's not perfect, but it's real. So when you see a guy acting differently around you, suddenly caring about your hobbies, throwing in random jokes, or going out of his way to be useful, try not to brush it off. He could simply be trying to impress you in his own clumsy but heartfelt way. And while it might not look like a movie romance, those raw, unpolished efforts often show the deepest kind of interest. In fact, one of the clearest signs a guy truly likes you is how nervous or awkward he becomes in your presence. It might seem odd. You'd think someone with a crush would feel confident and excited when they're near you. In theory, that's true, but in real life, real feelings often come with nervousness, vulnerability, and a fear of making mistakes. That anxiety, even when it looks clumsy, is actually proof that you matter to him. Watch his body language. He may fidget, play with his keys, fix his clothes, tap his fingers, or shift in his seat. These little actions are signs of nervous energy. His mind is racing with thoughts like, what should I say now? Or, did that sound silly? Or, does she feel the same way? His body gives away the emotions he's trying to handle, showing that you have a stronger effect on him than he probably wishes you did. That nervous tension shows up in his body, often without him even knowing it. Around you, he feels like you're the one person he wants to impress the most, which puts extra pressure on him even though you never asked for it. You may notice him tripping over his words. A guy who usually speaks clearly and confidently can suddenly lose track of what he was saying when he talks to you. He might mispronounce easy words, repeat things, or blurt out sentences that don't quite add up. This isn't because he's not smart or because he's socially clumsy. It's simply that your presence shakes him up in a big way. The stronger his feelings, the more his thoughts get tangled up with nerves, and he starts questioning himself. You'll also see changes in his eye contact. Some guys get shy and avoid looking directly at you, while others might do the opposite and hold your gaze a little too long. Either way, it rarely comes across smooth. He might sneak quick glances at you but turn away if you catch him, or he might lock eyes with you and suddenly forget what he was about to say. His eyes often reveal what he's feeling, even when his words don't. Another giveaway is the awkward laugh. If he laughs at nearly everything you say, even when it's not very funny, that laugh is often nerves talking. Laughing helps ease stress and makes things feel lighter. Around you, he may laugh more than usual because it's his way of handling the pressure he feels. It's not fake. His brain is just trying to soften the weight of the moment. You'll notice it most in quiet pauses or when he doesn't know what to say. He fills that space with a chuckle or a smile, hoping to keep things comfortable. This nervous side also comes out in pauses before he answers. You might ask a simple question, and he takes just a little longer than normal to respond. It's not that he didn't hear you. He's carefully trying to pick the right words so he doesn't say something wrong or seem uninterested. That small hesitation, even if it makes things a bit awkward, shows how much he wants to get it right with you. One of the clearest signs is how different he acts when you're around compared to when you're not. Maybe your mutual friends describe him as relaxed, funny, and easygoing, but the second you walk in, he shifts. He might get jumpy, extra polite, or suddenly quiet. That change tells you something. Your presence affects him deeply, and he adjusts himself because he takes you seriously. He may also act more polite than usual. You might notice him thanking you too often, holding doors like it's his job, or being overly careful with his tone and choice of words. At times it can seem stiff or calculated, but what's really happening is he doesn't want to mess up. In his mind, one wrong word or careless move could ruin his chances, so he overcompensates with formality. It might feel cold on the surface, but underneath it's fueled by genuine admiration. Another thing you'll spot is how he hovers near you. He might not always start a full conversation, but he finds ways to stay in your space, sitting nearby, walking close, or bumping into you in a crowd. That closeness, even if quiet, shows he's drawn to you. The fact that he hesitates to fully dive into conversation just means his nerves are in the way. This back and forth Wanting to be close but holding back is one of the real signs of emotional openness. It may look confusing, but it shows you how much you matter to him.